Professional golf has a money problem, and nobody in the sport is allowed to say it out loud. The LPGA Tour just wrapped its most financially generous season in 75 years of history, distributing over $131 million in total prize money across 2025. That is a 90% increase in just 4 years. On the surface, that sounds like justice finally being served. But dig 2 millimeters below that headline number, and you will find a financial crime scene that stretches back decades. Because the LPGA has a filthy habit. It has spent the majority of its existence wildly overpaying for celebrity, for nationality, for potential that never arrived, and for marketing narratives that had almost nothing to do with what actually happened on the golf course. And simultaneously, it has spent decades criminally, are systematically underpaying the most dominant athletes the sport has ever produced. Women who won majors. Women who held the world #1 ranking for years. Women who would have been billionaires if they had been born 40 years later and 20 years male. This is a full financial autopsy, 6 names. The verdict is going to make you furious on both sides. Let us begin with the most audacious financial bet in women's golf history. And let us be precise about the numbers, because the numbers are genuinely staggering. A week before her 16th birthday in October 2005, Michelle Wie turned professional and signed sponsorship contracts with Nike and Sony, reportedly worth more than $10 million per year. Golf Compendium. She had never won a single professional tournament. She had never made a cut on the LPGA Tour as a full member. She was a teenager who had shown flashes of extraordinary talent in amateur events, and the corporate world had completely lost its mind. By the end of her career, Wie West had won 5 tournaments and made $6.82 million in on-course prize money, ranking her 62nd on the all-time LPGA earnings list. But she made tens of millions more off the course through her high-profile pacts with Nike and Sony. LPGA. Read that again slowly. 62nd all-time in career prize money, 5 wins total, and simultaneously, a reported $10 million per year just in endorsement income for years during her peak marketing era. Gino Thitacool banked $6.06 million in 2024 alone, nearly matching Wie West's entire career earnings in just 1 season. They spot track the math here is almost too brutal to say out loud. One of the most commercially successful female golfers in history finished her career with fewer tournament wins than most solid LPGA veterans accumulate in a 3-year stretch. The gap between the marketing machine and the scorecard was one of the widest in the entire history of professional sport. Michelle Wie, the brand, was worth 9 figures. Michelle Wie, the professional golfer, was worth rank 62 on the career money list. Corporate America bet on the wrong version. This one is more complicated, and the complication is exactly why it belongs here. Christy Kerr amassed career earnings of $20,179,000 from 2 major championships and 20 LPGA wins, with major contributions coming from her Women's PGA Championship win in 2010 and her U.S. Women's Open win in 2007. The Golf News net $20 million. On paper, that looks like perfect, meritocratic compensation. It is not. Kerr is a genuinely elite player, but her $20 million figure was inflated almost entirely by the purse inflation of the later years of her career. The players who defined the sport during the 1990s and early 2000s, the women who built the audiences that Kerr later benefited from, were collecting a fraction of what Kerr earned for comparable performances. The system rewarded her for showing up late to a party that others spent decades building. She didn't steal the money. The money found her because of when she was born. That is not the same thing as earning it relative to the sport's actual hierarchy of greatness. Lexi Thompson is the perfect embodiment of the follower-first economy before social media even existed, to name it. She amassed career earnings of $15.498 million from 31 LPGA victories and 7 majors. The Golf News net statistically, that is a genuinely impressive career. But the financial machinery around Lexi Thompson has always been built on something the scorecards could not entirely justify: Thompson arrived as a blonde, photogenic American teenager. The LPGA Tour needed a marketing face for a new generation. She was handed that role before her game had fully developed, collecting endorsement deals and sponsor appearances that reflected her marketability far more than her week-to-week performance. Wastin, she became a perpetual media darling in a sport that desperately needed one. Ensim Bensini Auld, carrying promotional weight that players with sharper games were never asked to carry. The commercial return on her presence was massive. The major championship return never quite matched the investment the sport had made in building her celebrity. She is a Hall of Fame caliber player by any standard, but the financial ecosystem around her was always running about 2 sizes too large for the actual results. Now we enter genuinely uncomfortable territory. Annika Sorenstam taught less golf than her nearest competitors, which means she was so efficiently dominant that she out-earned an entire 2005 alone. Sorenstam won 10 tournaments in 20 starts, and in 311 career LPGA starts, she missed just 11 cuts. ZipRecruiter, and her total lifetime reward for this almost superhuman level of dominance, $22 million. Tiger Woods earned that in a single good year. Scottie Scheffler's prize money for 2025 alone was $27,659,000 across 20 events. The Golf News Net Scheffler earned more in one PGA Tour season than the greatest female golfer in history earned in her entire career. They played the same sport, on the same planet, in roughly the same era. Annika Sorenstam is not the LPGA's all-time leading earner. She is the LPGA's all-time leading robbery victim. If Sorenstam's situation is a financial crime, Lorena Ochoa's career is an entirely different category of tragedy. Ochoa held the world #1 ranking for 158 consecutive weeks and earned a total of $14,863,000 in official prize money during her LPGA career, ranking 12th on the all-time earnings list. Golf Digest, 158 consecutive weeks at the top of the world, and a career prize total that a current top 20 PGA Tour player can now collect in a single calendar year. In August 2007, Ochoa won her first major championship at the historic home of golf, the Old Course at St. Andrews, with a wire-to-wire win by 4 shots. She also became the first woman ever to earn more than $4 million in a single season. CBSSports.com. $4 million in a single season was a world record for women's golf. In 2025, Gino Thitikul led the LPGA Tour money list, having earned $7,578,000, while Scheffler collected $27 million across just 20 events. The Golf News Net Ochoa's record-shattering single-season peak would not even place her in the LPGA's current top 10 money earners. She retired in 2010 at the age of 28, having held the world #1 ranking for 158 weeks. Oh, Golf Digest. She was the best golfer on the planet and walked away in her absolute prime because the financial incentive structure was not sufficient to justify the sacrifice. The sport that benefited most from her dominance gave her back a fraction of what she deserved. This is 2024. This is not ancient history, and the number is going to make you set your phone down. Rory McIlroy won $4.5 million at the 2025 Players' Championship, which means he won more